Welcome back. Let's talk about a couple of mid-caps that came out with numbers. KEC International, that's the stock on our radar. After posting an inline set of numbers, it was the T&D business which wasn't doing too well for them. That stock down about 3% in an otherwise good market for mid-caps which are outperforming. Add to that, the company also signed a share purchase agreement with Adani Transmission for selling its entire stake in KEC Bikaner Seeker Transmission at an enterprise value of approximately 230 crores. So we'll talk about all of that. We have with us the MD and CEO of KEC International, Mr. Vimal Kejriwal. Thanks a lot, Mr. Kejriwal, for joining in. Let's talk about your numbers first. I remember speaking to you sometime in the previous quarter, and the T&D business wasn't doing too well then. You said this is just a one-quarter blip and it would improve going forward. Come quarter two, we have the T&D revenue is down about 11%. What's the way forward?
I think let me explain one thing is that we have an order book of around 20,000 crores, of which 71% is T&D. And we also have L1 of 4,000 where close to 90% is T&D. So I don't think we are worried about it. I think we will need to appreciate that, these are long-term projects and off and on you do face, some issues here and there. But I think we are very confident about our growth in the T&D business. Especially, overall we are looking at almost a 10% growth in T&D for the year. So even if we have not been able to achieve that in the H1, we are very clear that H2 will see a very good set of numbers for T&D.
All right, Mr. Kejriwal, good to hear, sir, that you're sounding so nice and confident, and you're telling us that in fact the order book as well is rather large. So for the year, at the half year mark, what has been the growth on the T&D segment? And for the year, what kind of a number are you looking at?
So for the half year, we had I don't have the exact number, but we had a slight degrowth in the T&D numbers. But as I said that with the large order book which we have in T&D, we are very comfortable that and confident that in H2 we should be able to make up not only the degrowth but also grow fairly well in the T&D business. You
said 10% for the whole year, and if there's a degrowth in the first
year,
okay, so 10% is for the second half of the whole year.
So I said 10% for the whole year.
Okay, so first half has been a degrowth. So you expect this the second half to see a 20% growth at least?
Roughly, or maybe slightly more than that, because normally our second half is, in terms of revenue breakup, if you see, second half is generally 60% of our revenues and first half is 40%. That's the way traditionally it has operated.
Do you think there's a downside risk to that given the busy election calendar, and is there any sort of risk in terms of election calendar coming in the way of the T&D business, or that's just business as usual?
So one thing which I would like to say is, as I said, T&D business around 70% of our overall order book. Of that, of the 51% is outside India. Okay. So the India T&D order book is only 20% of my overall order book. So even with the election year, I don't think I am seeing a major concern there. Secondly, normally the concern is more on the order intake than on the execution. And with the election somewhere around May, I don't think we are expecting an issue at least up to Q4, up to March. Maybe something happens in Q1 when, May, when the officials are all on election duty, etc. Maybe Q1 we may have some blip on execution. But I don't think otherwise up to FY19 we are seeing any issue.
Mr. Kejriwal, you were telling us that your order book is looking quite healthy. If I look at it in the first half of the year, the order intake is up by what, 35% approximately?
Yeah, if you look at, I'll give it slightly dated, slightly correct numbers. We are right now, as of today, our order book is up by 38%.
By 38%. Okay.
Yeah, we are at 7%.
And earlier, Mr. Kejriwal, you had told us that in fact you expect an order inflow of around 20% for the year. So you have done already 38% is the order inflow for the first half of the year. Do you stick to that guidance? Do you want to revise the order inflow guidance? And also the other point that you made, most of the orders are coming from the international business, but you are not seeing any sort of slowdown in the domestic business, right?
Domestic, I'll not say there is a slowdown, but we are not seeing a growth as we are seeing in international. Okay.
Okay.
I think that's the point.
And order inflow, 38% in the first half, for the year 20% is what you're maintaining?
It's actually not exactly first half, but it is up to date. Okay.
Okay.
So I think we should be happy if we are able to do 20. I'm not sure we'll be able to do 20 or not, but we should be in the ballpark 15-20% is what we have been talking about it.
Right. Let's talk about the railway business then. You have a guidance of about 1,500 crores of revenue coming in from the railway business in this year. Do you think you are on track to achieve that? And FY20, what would you suggest?
So So we already, if you look at our quarter-on-quarter, we have done around 255% growth. So I think we are very clear that we will double our revenues in railways. Last year we did around 800, and I think we should be doing around 1600 crores.
All right, Mr. Kejriwal, out of the total revenues, how much comes in from the international business?
Out of our revenues, roughly around 45% or so comes in from our international.
So is there a tailwind, some part of the tailwind with regard to the rupee depreciation getting factored in? How does the rupee depreciation work for y'all? Is it margin accretive? And also give us a sense what kind of margin can we work with for the full year?
It is clearly margin accretive, and as you were saying on our call, I think in the first half we had around 30-35 crores of additional margin on account of foreign exchange rupee depreciation.
Right. Mr. Kejriwal, before we let you go, was looking through your balance sheet. Looks like, the working capital days and receivable days, they're fairly stretched. Debt also hasn't really gone down. What's the plan for improvement out there?
So the receivable days have more or less remained where they were, so at around 240 to 45 days or so. But I think the issue which we are facing is that with the railway business ramping up so much, we are clearly seeing a stretch on the supply chain. Till now most of the railway suppliers were pretty small players and they all need to be funded in cash. Now with the volumes going up, larger players are coming in, and I think the railway supply chain will start normalizing. We also got around 300 crores from our Saudi receivables. So I think we are pretty hopeful that the numbers will start normalizing, and we had a 3.2% interest cost this quarter, and I think we've been talking about for the whole year anything between 2.5 to 3% should be our numbers.
All right, Mr. Kejriwal, thanks so much, sir, for joining in. All the best for the second half of the year. The stock is down close to around 3.5% as we speak. But Mr. Kejriwal is sounding confident. Second half of the year will be far better. By the way, keep an eye out on the mid-cap index as well. It slipped a tad bit. A few stocks that you should look at, the likes of Arvind are moving lower. You have Bharat Forge as well that are moving lower. And also you have a Reliance Capital. That's moved to the low point of the day. So some profit booking is what we're seeing in the mid-cap index. But let's move on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive.